Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and I've been trying for a little while to make a Francesca deck. I'm trying to make Francesca great again, because as a Francesca myself, it kind of pains me that she's just so bad. And basically I was playing around yesterday, and I came up with this deck, this Francesca deck, that actually turned out to be a little bit okay. So this is my Make Francesca Great Again deck. I wouldn't necessarily recommend you play this in ranked. I just don't think Francesca is competitively viable. You know, we don't have any with Weather Clear. We're not running Yavin or Ciri. I guess you could run Ciri instead of Igni, but we're not running, you know, card advantage cards, so it's not really gonna be that effective in ranked. But it's a surprisingly good deck, and my thought process behind this deck was, what if we make a deck where we just put into it like every card you could possibly want to mulligan? That was kind of the thought process there. We're just going to put in cards that you would typically mulligan, because we got so many mulligans that we may as well just mulligan everything, right? Right? So, for example, we have our 3 Elven War Dancers. Whenever you mulligan this unit, play it from your deck immediately, so these are good to mulligan. We have Roach. She's fantastic to mulligan. We have Witchers, 2 of which we will want to mulligan. We have Aileron. When you have 5 or more elf allies, play this unit from your deck. Great to mulligan. We have Saskia. Good to mulligan. We have 3 spells, which, you know, situationally are good to mulligan. Shackles is situationally useful. Marjoram is situationally useful. Even Lacerate sometimes. Sometimes you just want to mulligan it, right? So we've got lots of mulligan. And then we have cards which allow us to mulligan. For example, Vreehead Officer. Deploy mulligan a card, so we can use this for mulliganing. We've got Francesca, who will allow us to mulligan as well. We have our Vanguards. Whenever you mulligan a card, boost self by 1 while in your hand, deck, or on the board. So this is going to be like our final round win condition. And effectively, we also have actually Johnny, who we can use to discard Ciri, which will actually basically mulligan her and give us a gold from our opponent. And then Avalak for card draw. So it's a lot of thinning as well, because if we mulligan these, they get thinned. You know, Aileron, once we have 5 elves, she'll come out. The Witchers we can use to thin the deck. Roach we can use to thin the deck. Saskia we can use to thin the deck. And all of this thing is hopefully going to allow us to then find a pretty sexy Ciri dash right at the end. That's kind of the gist of the deck. It's a good fun deck. Like I say, if you wanted to go for more card advantage, you could run Ciri, but Igni, I just think he's really good and he allows a lot of potential points. Avalak also is nice for card draw. You can use this against certain decks, like Discard, for example, or Full Test, in order to try and brick their draws. That's also an option. So we have a few options here, basically. Anyway, one other card is Hawker Smuggler. Whenever an enemy appears, boost self by 1. So these are low point cards, but they get like quite a few points by the end of the round. So these are nice because they're small, but they get you points, and they're also elves. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to jump into a casual game, and I'll showcase the Make Francesca Great Again deck for you guys. And if you enjoy this video, maybe hit that thumbs up button. It is something that you guys have been requesting, so I hope you enjoy.
I shall not repeat Emir's mistakes.
We do what must be done.
Okay, so up against Kelvin, which is hopefully not Milfgard. In terms of our mulligan here, Ciri Dash is great. You actually do want to mulligan your Elven War Dancers, because there's no point in kind of holding on to them to mulligan with other cards, because we've got so much other stuff that we want to mulligan anyway. We can mulligan Elven War Dancer. And I mean, we have Aileron in hand, we have Saskia in hand. You might think, oh no, you know, what a terrible hand. But the thing is, it doesn't matter, because we also got mulligan in hand, right? This is a mulligan deck. It's totally fine. Roach, go away. That's a nice draw. The only thing we need to make sure we do is mulligan, you know, Saskia and Aileron at some point. In terms of your opening play, you often want to play your Hawker Smugglers nice and early in order to get those points on the board. So that's something that we're going to be looking to do here. So we'll play our Smuggler. And these are nice because if he's running Golems, then they get super buffed. The Alba Pikemen pulling out units are going to be buffing the Smugglers as well. So it's a pretty nice position to be in, basically. That, on the other hand, is kind of annoying, but on the plus side, you know, we have 2 more Smugglers, so we can always play 1 to block this, and that's basically an option that we have. It's not the best option, but ultimately it protects our units, right? So that's pretty good. So we'll play this, and the first one we want to mulligan is Aileron, obviously, because she's going to come out when we play 5 elves. We've got 4 elves here. Then we'll mulligan Saskia with the other Smuggler, because then we still have Francesca to play, so that when we do that, you know, good things happen, basically. So this is kind of where we are at the moment.
Ho ho, I sense trouble.
So the problem here is that, obviously this is a low tempo play, but then we'll be even on cards, so it's okay because of the coin flip. It means that this kind of low tempo play is actually not too much of a problem. And because it pulled Ayla in, it's given us a little bit of tempo, which means we're actually on even cards.
Sometimes I've had about enough.
Okay, so there's the orcs. We can then play the other... We could play the other smuggler, but I actually think what we want to do first is we want to play Ciri Dash, because Ciri will pull Roach, which is nice, but also we want her to go into the graveyard so that next round she comes into the deck. So this is kind of a good strategy as well. And it also gives us enough tempo that we're still ahead of him. Out come the golem. So this is why I wanted the smugglers out, because of these kind of tempo situations where they play a lot of cards. Unfortunately, you know, we didn't get it, but it's okay. I guess he goes front row, right? Or back row. I mean, they're worth the same number of points. Front row is less blockable than back row, so back row would be... Front row would be the smarter choice. So we'll just keep mulligan cards. Just keep mulliganing. We can always play, you know, we can always play Witchers as a tempo play. So we have that as an option. So all things considered, this isn't too bad. Like, yes, he's gonna kill the 6, but we can play this, so that's okay. I actually don't think Marjoram is going to be that useful this round, and potentially the Hawker Smuggler's not either. So let's play Francesca now, which is also a tempo play. We'll get her out as well.
Folk have suffered much.
And then we can mulligan the Smuggler for now and see what we draw. Vanguard. We could mulligan a Vanguard, because potentially we won't need them till the final round. We'll mulligan 1 Vanguard, I think. And Avalak. I'm actually going to just leave it at that, because I don't want to... The problem is I don't want to risk pulling a... I don't want to risk pulling a Witcher here. We could go for it, because we might find the Officer, but the Officer's our only other mulligan, so I think for now we just have to leave it at that. We've got, you know, 12 points in a Scorch in the back row, and we've got 10 in the front row, so depending on how he plays this, you know, we should be okay. 17 points ahead. So this is a 16-point play. This is a 17-point play, so this would put us on even. I guess we go for Witches for now. Now we're on even. This is good for us. And if he wants to take a tie, we take a tie, because against mill, they want to kind of mill all your cards, so taking a tie is not a bad option.
The revolution is inevitable, merely a matter of time.
But yeah, we're kind of just in a really great spot here. He's put something to the top of his deck. We've got Avalak, which is 8. The problem is here, you know, that won't catch us up with him, which means he can pass. So maybe what we go for here is the Igni, burn the 2 6s, and look to play the Avalak on the next round, because that will put us ahead. So that's a decent kind of tempo play. Yeah, let's do that. That's a 16-point play, so then we should be up 6. Yep, there we go. And really, we're just trying to take this round. You know, we're going to have Vanguards for a final round condition. So the first round, you know, it's nice to win. And there's the pass. And we're passing on even here, which is, you know, the thing to point out here is he's not gotten card advantage. We've managed to kind of maintain our really strong tempo and force him kind of out of the round. So now we draw. And that is, you know, basically not what we want to draw here. I think we'll get rid of... Shackles is okay against Tibor, as is Marjoram. So I guess we mulligan the Lacerate here. Ultimately, we have Avalak, so this is okay. We can just play this.
It's time.
And draw some cards. And if he doesn't play a tempo play that's worth more than 8 points, what we can effectively do here is we can just pass. And he has to then play another card. So that's what I meant by a tempo play. He has to kind of make these. Potentially what we can do here is actually Shackles this. You know, he is going to have his T-ball most likely, so that's something to be a little wary of. But because we have Shackles, maybe we just leave it, you know. Maybe we just kind of forego this round, basically. It means that we're passing on even. But because we have, you know, the Vanguard, I think we're probably okay to pass here. I don't really want to play too much this round. The other thing we still have is Johnny, so if we draw Ciri, we have the option to Johnny her, but I'm not sure that is entirely worthwhile. That's a good draw. We mulligan the Elven War Dancer, because she then just gets played, and we got a Lacerate. So we didn't find Ciri Dash again. After all that, we didn't even find her, which is kind of a shame. We could trade out one of our spells for a Smuggler or an Officer, which is actually quite good, because if we then get the Smuggler, we could probably trade out to try and find Ciri Dash. That's actually a really good option. So the question is, which one are we least likely to need in this matchup? And I think the answer is probably Lacerate, because like I say, these two are good against T-ball. So that is an option.
Riot!
And this deck is known to run Tibor, so let's have a crack at it and see what we find. Because if we can find the officer, we can then mulligan another card and find hopefully find Ciri Dash, right?
Good grief.
That is the kind of thought process that we have here. Okay, we got an Elzer's Thunder. Wait, I forgot it draws from his deck, not from our deck. I'm being an idiot. I'm being an idiot. So we can Mardrome this, we can Elzer's Thunder this. I think we hold these for our good friend Tibor, and we just Elzer's Thunder it. But we don't need to do that this round, so let's do this. The problem is, I think I want to play this on the front row just to protect from, you know, any other rot tosses he might have. I know he's played 3, but, you know, and if he decoys it or anything like that we protect ourselves. And then he got his Ciri, so that's kind of frustrating. Well, I'll just thunder this, because this is equivalent to, you know, 7 points, basically. We have 7 points here, so that's kind of an equivalent play. The thing is, if you have Tibor, you typically play it last, so then we're not going to maybe get good value out of these 2 cards. Which is a shame. We would have liked to find, you know, Ciri Dash or the Officer. That is a very, very early Scorch.
I was hoping.
Because we do have, you know, more officers, so this is good. And fortunately for ourselves, we have this, and we know he's played Orcs, so he shouldn't be able to relock it. I guess the alternative play was we could have locked the Dash, right? You go and shoot him again. Shoot him again. So now we actually have a decent target for Mardrome, so let's play this. I don't think we're going to win, but still. Mutagen onto Johnny. We'll just heal him back up. Which makes that an 8-point play. You know, we only have 12 in hand, so we're not going to catch him. But I feel like we did put up a decent fight here. And, you know, it was just unfortunate we didn't get the Officer, we didn't get Ciri Dash, so we ended up with a lot of spells in hand, which maybe weren't as useful. But I do still think that this deck, as you can maybe see here, is effective in maintaining tempo and does have potential. So that's kind of it. Without further ado, I'll jump into another game and I'll showcase this deck in action once more for you guys.
We do what must be done.
Okay, so we're up against Dagon. In terms of the mulligan, we want to basically get rid of, you know, the War Dancers. But ideally, you maybe wait 1 mulligan in case you pull a second one so that you can mulligan them both and play them nice and early. Also, things like Roach and Ailerin are good to, you know, mulligan. That's not really surprising. 1 Witcher is good. We'll mulligan a Roach. And then we'll mulligan this Elven War Dancer.
Watch and
we got another Witcher. But that's okay because we have our Vreehead Officers in hand. So, you know, it's not really too much of a problem because we can always mulligan the extra Eskel and the Vanguard with that. The other thing you really want to mulligan here is Saskia, because if you can't mulligan Saskia with Francesca because then she won't play, basically. That's the kind of problem here. But before we start mulliganing, we're going to play our Hawker Smugglers because we want to try and get them on the board, basically, so that we can start to get buffed whenever he plays units, basically. So that the Smuggler gets buffed. And especially stuff like Harpy Trios, it's pretty good. He's going to stack the row, which means I guess he's looking for a Lacerate. As it is, I think we hold off then on playing this Smuggler until we've played the Officer. So we'll play the Officer.
Blood and neck ends.
We will mulligan Eskel, premium Eskel, off he goes, and pull something else. The other thing that's good to mulligan is Vanguards. We don't typically need them till later on in the game, so that's not a bad strategy either. So what we'll do here is, yeah, I think we just play. Should we play a Smuggler? Let's play a Smuggler. I mean, we are stacking the row for Lacerate, but I think generally we'll get more than 3 points out of a Smuggler, so it's worth taking the risk. We can't play them elsewhere, you know. And there's Frost on the back row, which means, yeah, he probably intends to Lacerate. So into another mulligan here, and we can get rid of the Vanguard this time. And now we have a War Dancer, so this is nice. We can mulligan this, obviously, with the other Officer. We just have to be, like I say, just be careful about Saskia. We want to kind of be a bit sneaky about this. And so maybe the smarter play here is to play the Witchers. We have we have our Elves, so you can see that Ailerin got pulled, which is good. We're on 40 points. He is going to shoot all of these units. But we can play the Witchers, and that's another tempo play. And you can see, you know, we've been making some big tempo plays this round. And that's allowing us to buff up our... There's a Lacerate. Buff up our... it's allowing us to buff up our Vanguards. So now we'll go for Francesca. Again, this is going to This is going to pull Saskia. We haven't pulled Roach yet, so that's just something to be aware of. But we'll pull Saskia. We'll play Francesca. And then mulligan the War Dancer, because that obviously plays her.
Too fast for you.
There's the Vanguard. We can mulligan the Smuggler. I don't think we're going to get as much value out of her as we would. Into Ciri Dash is nice. And Mardrome isn't looking so useful, so we can mulligan that. We do, however, risk pulling Roach, so we have to be a little bit aware of that. But as it is, we took the risk and we got Avalak, so it's pretty good. We want to play Ciri Dash this round because when she enters the graveyard, she gets strengthened. So if we do that this round, then it sets us up quite nicely in general. He hasn't quite, unfortunately, got 20 points on the back row for our Igni. But, you know, we're still ahead. We'll play Ciri Dash. And I'm just capping Rose, basically, just in case he happens to have Skellige Storm, that, you know, these are protected. That's kind of the tactical positioning. I guess the downside is I've stacked this row up to 20, but, you know, that kind of happens. I guess he fogs middle. Oh, he fogs front. So that is a problem because we then have we look like very ignoble. We'll play Avalak. Let's just draw some cards. Let's find more things to mulligan, basically. There's one. And we could mulligan that. We could actually just use this, though, to reset his Ekamara, right? And if he keeps playing, we will do that. He's decided to keep playing, so here is a situation where this is useful. Into Spores, into the Ekamara, and now it's dead. Because it resets it and then basically removes 3 strength, so it got banished. So no carryover for him. And you can see we're in a pretty nice spot. You know, we have Vanguard. The one thing to be aware of with Dagon is they might play Becca's Twisted Mirror. So just be aware of their 1 strength drops. I guess he's mulliganing something. And ideally we want to keep playing. We're not far enough ahead that I feel comfortable just leaving this, especially as we're taking 4 damage per turn. But what we can do is obviously we can play the Officer into the Elven War Dancer. And then that also buffs the Vanguard. So that's quite nice. We have a 4 that we can Scorch. Like, there's not a good Scorch here, unfortunately, like an Igni. So that's just the other thing we have to look out for. If he plays another unit on the back row, then we potentially have a good Igni. But I guess that requires him to play Chromes. Which he might play. He's only played 2 silvers and 1 gold. You know, we've played 2 golds and 5 silvers. Come on, show me what you got. Harpy. See, the problem here is we don't really have row damage, but we can kind of just stall this some more. You know, he's going to do 4 damage to us with the weather. So if we play this, this just negates the weather, and then he has to play to kind of catch up, basically. So this is good. He does have carryover. You know, he has all of these harpies, which is kind of a pain. Yennefer. I guess he has more units, so he should go Unicorn, I think. But that does also set us up for a nice 10-point Igni. So let's take that.
Any last words?
Get the 14-point play. Because we're also kind of draining a lot of his tempo. And the thing is, Dagon, he's going to have to win a second round, right? So, you know, you have to ask what is his win condition. Usually it's the...
Who do I spy?
Oh, am I going to lose to weather? Oh, well. Usually his win condition is the... what's it called? Usually his win condition is the Woodland Spirit. 84 to 3. So we can play this. I think we have to just all in on this guy, right? Like, he's got so much carryover, we can't really afford to lose the round. The problem is we are going to take 4 damage from weather. So the question is, what is his last card? If it's a Frosthound, I think we tie. Which would make life bad for us, because we have fewer points. And this is what I meant about this deck not being very competitive, is because we don't run any weather clear. This sort of situation can happen. But I feel confident in that we have lots of big value units and we've very heavily thinned our deck. So chances are we should be able to find a Vanguard by the final round, preferably 2. The fact that he's not played anything makes me think he doesn't have it. Right? There it is. Oh, thank God for that. I really needed to win this round in order to win. So, you know, that's really good. In order to at least stand a chance of winning. Because of all of these eggs, and out they all come. It would be nice right now, Epidemic. Maybe we should run Epidemic. Shackles and a dude. So we get rid of Shackles. And we can maybe try and find Ciri or the Vanguard. Come on, Ciri. Johnny. Okay, so we can use Johnny, but we don't really want to discard anything. So potentially we just pass here. Just, you know, basically give up the fact that he's got 9 points, accept the fact he's going to be a card up, and try and find Ciri Dash or the Vanguard for the final round. So we currently have a 1 in 4 chance to draw a good card, and then we can mulligan if it's bad, and then it's a 2 in 3 chance, and that's a good card. We're not going to mulligan her. We could discard her with Johnny and take one of his, but, you know, I don't think it's going to be worth as many points. So yeah, I think we have, you know, a fairly strong hand here. We have 26 and 7, 33 points, I think. Maths, 33 points. 26 plus 7, yeah, 33 points in hand. So that's okay. There's Harpies. So I'm guessing it's going to be maybe potions. Often they play potions. We've only seen 2 gold cards out of him and 3 gold, so he could go crones. But typically they play crones in round 1. I don't think he has crones. I'm inclined to say no crones. Frosthound, where are you going to put it? In the range. Oh, in the middle row, okay. So, can I choose not to discard a card? I don't know. I think we maybe have to play this, because I'm not sure if I have a choice with Johnny, is the problem. Does he have Scorch? Scorch is quite common in Dagon lists. But I think he probably has Woodland Spirit. And... Dunno what else. Woodland Spirit and something. Water Hag, maybe? That's only worth 6. There's Woodland Spirit. That'll go in the front row. So we're still up 1. If he has Water Hag, he gets 6 and 2. So we tie?
Peter Piper picked Prince Proximo a pack of pickled peppers by the pond.
I think we tie. Oh no! Because it was Twisted Mirror. Oh, he gets the 2 extra points. He gets the 2 extra points. So, the thing is, he would have fogged whichever row I'd placed Johnny in. And basically we lose here because of the 2 extra points from I think that was Elza's double cross. Yeah, 2 extra points from Elza's double cross, which is painful. Kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. And, oh, I just said it. God damn it! But this is the thing, this deck is really fun to play, and it's definitely close games. Like, you've noticed in both situations, I feel like the deck has potential, and there are situations where you definitely win. And I mean, maybe I should put, you know, maybe Ciri in instead of Igni, and maybe Ida in instead of something, or a First Light instead of Shackles, for example. Those are always options, but, you know, I guess you can kind of play around with the deck and tech it. I don't think it's ever going to be a competitively viable deck. But at the same time, I do think it's a really fun deck, and I just think at the moment, because of the kind of situation with the cards, there's no silver mulligan cards and there's no gold mulligan cards. So you kind of have to play around with the bronze ones in order to try and make Francesca great again. And whilst it's really hard to brick your hand with this deck, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the bestest deck ever. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the deck in the comments below. Like I say, I have won games with this deck, just apparently today's not going to be my day. And I've been quite close with this deck, so I feel like it's got potential, but let me know what you would change and what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you think I should only record and showcase me winning, let me know about that as well, because obviously I try and showcase the deck in as fair a way as possible, and I think if the matches are fun and you kind of get a flavor for the deck, even if I lose, I think that's still beneficial, right? That's kind of my thinking. So with these decks, even though I lost, I feel like it's not a bad example. And you can see that I feel like I at least like put up a good fight, right? So yeah, let me know in the comments below. Beyond that, have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video.